and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about how to shop pre-loved luxury safely. Now I'm going to be talking about how to protect yourself as a buyer, seller a little bit as well, online as well as in store. Before I get started, you guys may know this. My name is Katherine, first of all. Hello if you're new. I have worked in the luxury resale industry for over 5 years now. I've spent most of my life shopping on the resale market in some sense, and the last 5 years has been almost exclusively on the luxury end of the spectrum. Today's tips are going to be about how to protect yourself when you are shopping pre-loved. The best ways, in my opinion, to shop pre-loved, there are larger companies, there are private sellers, there are in-store like consignment and resale shops, and there are platforms that are not necessarily selling platforms like Facebook and Instagram. So I'm going to be doing tips on all of these different methods and different like places. The first thing, and I cannot start this video without saying these two things. Number one, never do not trade with strangers on the internet. Don't do it. Do not do it. There is a reason why trades are not supported on a lot of the larger online platforms, and the reason is because they are just simply not enforceable. I think the common method for trading, at least on Poshmark, and this may have been a few years ago, like I said, I've never done it because it just isn't a very smart thing to do in my opinion. What people will do is like, this will lower the price on their item to $3 or whatever it is so they can get shipping, and you both send your items over. However, what this really fails to address is that one of these people may end up sending you something other than what was agreed upon. You change your descriptions. It's really not safe. Especially just remember that people on the internet are strangers. Do not ever lose sight of that. Do not just trust strangers blindly. It is not a good method. No trading. However, my way around this would be for both parties to agree to sell the item for the same price. Let's say you're selling a bag for $400 and you want a pair of shoes that are $400. Both of you buy each other's pieces for the same amount of money. That way you are covered. It's just a transaction just like any other. If you really are dying to trade something, which you shouldn't be, that would be my method of doing it. The other thing I must say is that with online purchases, do not ever wire someone money that you do not know. For transactions, I only will accept PayPal. There are other apps like, Venmo and Cash App and all of the other ones, but for these purposes, I only reserve those methods of payment for people that I know and trust. Those type of payments can be reversed. The only one that I really like is PayPal because they actually do have a like a resolution center. They really have people working on your case, and they generally tend to be fair. It has been my experience that they do tend to side with buyers, but at least with PayPal you are given a fighting chance. Another thing with PayPal is that when you're shopping for goods or services, make sure that you are invoiced. Do not send any money via friends and family unless this is someone that you know and trust. So that's the first thing I had to get out. Be careful with how you're sending your money, and be extremely strict about not trading. Trading is just a recipe for disaster. It is just scam city. In all of my years of looking into the people who have been scammed on places like Poshmark, it's been largely from trades. So if you take anything away from this video, just don't trade ever. So if you want to have the safest and most stress-free, I recommend places like FASHIONPHILE, Rebag, and Yuki's Closet. The Real is great. Those are very large companies that have been in business for 10 plus years. I think FASHIONPHILE is up to 20 years now, and they've now partnered with Neiman Marcus. Generally speaking, sometimes their prices tend to be higher on certain merchandise. The Real, there have been some fake or counterfeit items that have slipped through the cracks. Generally speaking, it represents like a very small sliver, like maybe 1 in 10,000. I think it is a very safe place to shop, and I will continue to shop there as I always have, but it's always a possibility, and just for the sheer number of volume that they do, some margin of error that slips through the cracks, and it has been my experience that they do tend to take care of you. I haven't had any experience in the more more than 50 orders I've placed with them over the last 5 years. I've only had great things to say. In my experience, they do take care of the customers if anything were to happen, which it does very, very, very rarely. I can't emphasize that enough. So if you are trying to save a little bit of money, you may want to go through more individualized sellers. That's where we get our Poshmarks and Tradesies and places like eBay. These are all great pieces. However, platforms are put in place as marketplaces and do have, I generally like that they are sort of like a intermediary between buyers and sellers. There is always a risk when you're shopping pre-loved to begin with, but there definitely are risks as well associated with shopping from individual sellers. Number one, even without any type of malicious intents or anything like that, you can have sellers that are not necessarily as knowledgeable because selling luxury goods is not their primary job. It can be understandable. I'm sure it's not yours either. With Poshmark is a very, very large platform, and there does tend to be a lot of fakes on Poshmark. As a person who authenticates, I told you guys this months ago on Instagram stories, but one of my bored things that I do is I get on Poshmark and report counterfeit listings. And that's like my, stress reliever thing. I have checked, they do get taken down once they are, flagged. Just in case that you do see something there, make sure you get it authenticated. Poshmark definitely is full of fakes. Your money is safe, but it's just not worth the stress and hassle. So I always recommend authentication. So now with Tradesy, in my experience, I haven't seen that many fakes. However, Tradesy does have a return policy. You can return anything for store credit, and so that is an option available to you. Also, you can request an authentication afterwards. This is not a service I've ever used, but I do sell on Tradesy all the time, and I know that this does exist. Then once you get past that level, you get to private sellers on places like Facebook and Instagram. Facebook and Instagram definitely are not selling platforms. They are just, obviously, you've probably heard of them, social media, and that connects people that you otherwise would not be connected to, which is great. However, the purpose of these platforms is not for sales. So there is a lot less protection when you run transactions through there. So I have shopped through Instagram sellers as well, a couple of vintage stores that I liked, and a couple of consignment stores. There are definitely a lot of reputable Instagram sellers. Personally, I will only shop through Instagram accounts that are tied to businesses. I don't tend to shop through private sellers. I just don't find it as safe. And obviously, of course, you are PayPal protected as long as you're invoiced, and that goes for anyone. But I just generally feel a lot more comfortable when it is a business Instagram account. And I mean, a place with a website, a place with a storefront, a place with a phone number. It's just something that is, listed as a business. I just think it's just a lot safer. A lot of influencers will will either sell through their Instagram platforms or create an Instagram account for the selling of their merchandise. Those I'm okay with. Me personally, I like to use all avenues available, but just make sure that when you are shopping from an Instagrammer's Poshmark closet, do reach out to them on Instagram as well, just to make sure that they're not being falsely represented on one of these platforms, because things like that definitely do happen. For me, I have mine linked. I have both my Instagram and my Poshmark account linked in my description boxes always, so you know it's me. I'm driving you to it. There's also Facebook groups. My favorite one at this point when I'm filming this was shut down, and I'm not really sure why. I really like that one a lot because it had very strict rules to keep everyone safe and protect them. Unfortunately, at the time when I'm filming this, it is not active, and I don't know what happened to it. And there are other places like OfferUp and the Facebook Marketplace, which actually is a social media marketplace that's designed for buying and selling. Those I have not used, and honestly, I wouldn't. I've heard of people getting great deals on there, but I just don't like the aspect of meeting up with strangers from the internet. So I'm not really for it as a general principle. So now that I've gotten those categories and subcategories out of the way, we're going to talk about how to protect yourself during these transactions. First thing I want to say is that in regards to pricing, it definitely is acceptable to negotiate a little bit, but I really want to caution you all to not do ridiculous lowball offers. There comes a point where it's just insulting. If you have something, if you are interested in something that is selling at $1,000 and you've done your research and you see that there are some available for maybe $700, that does not mean send them an offer for $500 so you can land at $7. This maybe is more of like my own personal style in negotiating, but if I am not I'm actually not a big haggler because I know what things cost. But yeah, lowballing and throwing out just ridiculous numbers so you can land in the middle, in my opinion, just is not the best way to go. Just go in having a number that you're happy with, and if you don't want to move past it, or if the seller is a little bit too optimistic in their expectations on their sale, then you know what, maybe this transaction is not the one. I do think also that it is important to be willing to walk away. But that's again just a personal style, personal negotiating style. Always be willing to walk away. 2, any seller should not only allow, but they should welcome and encourage you to take photos and have the item authenticated by a third party. This is something that is very important, and I have a couple of online authenticators that I like a lot. I will link them in the description box down below. A lot of authentication companies will have the option to get a just a quick yes or no opinion. There's certificates available. There's data on pricing you can pay extra to have. But any seller that doesn't want to send you more photos or doesn't allow you to take pictures of the item, in my opinion, is just not legitimate. If you stand behind whatever it is that you're trying to sell, then that shouldn't be an issue for you. Same goes for stores. Obviously, when I am working, I do have a list of authenticators that I recommend. I will offer the option of doing the authentication for them, but you should want to have it done on your own. Another great thing that happened recently with eBay. eBay has partnered with Real Authentication, so you were able to go through eBay's listings, and not only is there a section of pre-authenticated bags that eBay does stand behind, but I think you're also able now to go in through the onto eBay listings and pay for an authentication within the eBay website, and I think it comes from Real Authentication. This is a new service, so I haven't personally used it yet, but it is a great option, and it makes it really easy. Authentication can run you anywhere from $10 to sometimes they're like $100 if you're talking about Hermes, and they might be a little bit more than that if you're talking about Hermes like exotic skins, like Himalayan Birkins and things like that. Either way, the $10, even if it's $50, if you're talking about potentially spending like $1,000 on a handbag, I think what is an extra 20 bucks for peace of mind. So definitely get your items authenticated. Next, and this is a slightly unpopular opinion that I know I hold, but I'm going to throw it out there. Leave me your comments down below. Tell me whether or not you agree. So a lot of the time, buyers will request receipts. I don't pass along receipts with my clients' information on them. I think that is sort of like a breach of like privacy. It's just not something I'm cool with. I don't like that personally, so that's just how I feel. However, in practical terms, receipts don't really tend to hold really any tangible value to me in authentication. You can have a real bag with a fake receipt and a fake bag with a real receipt. Like, any receipt is one photocopy away from ending up in the wrong hands and potentially duping people. Yeah, I don't put any stock behind receipts. A lot of brands that their merchandise doesn't have unique serial numbers. I'm thinking of like Louis Vuitton and Prada, places like that. There just is not really any tangible benefit to having a receipt to me at all. I think it's just a piece of paper, and that doesn't do anything. Yeah. Be safe out there, have some fun, and let me know if you've purchased anything from Instagram or what is your latest Poshmark or tradesy find. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!